Hey everyone, I'm back with another post. This one is a little bit heady and philosophical, so I brought a cup of tea to set the mood. But it's what's going on in my mind today, so this is what you get. This is actually kind of an idea or a set of ideas that I've had in my head for a number of years, and I've just never really expressed them. So I'm that's part of the reason for getting this out there in this way. Is like I'm connecting things in my own mind, and so I'm working from, like kind of coming back to my more recent experiences in meditation, and what I've recognized through that practice and through being, through giving myself prolonged time in meditation these last, several weeks. Really, it's been a few months now, several months. What I realized from that is that there's a way in which in meditation I'm tapping into a completely infinite resource. It's not a resource, an infinite source of energy. And it doesn't matter what kind of energy I'm looking for. It's all available there. It's just pure life juice almost. And the more time I spend there, the more energy I have. It's a very direct trade-off, and it's very reliable. Doesn't mean that there isn't occasionally, meditations where it's kind of rough or kind of feels like it's not working, but that, as any, teacher of meditation will tell you, that really doesn't matter. All that matters is whether you're doing it. And so then that experience has become very visceral for me recently and very real. And I've connected it with a set of ideas that this goes back to, a number of years ago, I used to be really into a philosopher named Ken Wilber. And one of the things he talked about was, one of the phrases he used is the two arrows of time, because we all know we live in time, right? And time moves forward, right? But on the one hand, we have evolution. We observe evolution in the manifest world. And we, on the other hand, have something called the second law of thermodynamics, which basically states it's the law of entropy. Some of you may have heard of this. It's basically the law saying that the physical world is always tending from a state of greater order towards a state of greater disorder. That's what entropy means. Entropy is always increasing. We've heard this phrase. That's what the second law of thermodynamics states. Chaos is always increasing. The world is going from order to disorder. But that's the exact opposite of evolution. In evolution, things are going from less ordered to more ordered. They're going from less complicated systems that are able to hold less within them because they're less stable, they're less intricate, to more ordered systems, more highly ordered systems. So that's what Ken Wilber called the two arrows of time, and they seem to be opposed. And evolution seems to be going one way towards greater order. Second law of thermodynamics seems to be going the other way towards greater disorder. And this is kind of, it's a conundrum, except it's not really a conundrum, because when we start to viscerally tap in to the unmanifest, which is not the physical world, it's the world that you find in meditation. We get glimpses of it. Sometimes we can spend time there, but it's the unmanifest world. It's the source of everything. This energy that I'm talking about, that's just infinite oneness. You can actually glimpse this when you sit and we put our attention. We realize we are the consciousness that is conscious of everything. There's a million different meditation techniques that'll kind of get you there, but the result is always the same. We end up in source, receiving directly from source. Ultimately knowing that we are source, dissolving into source, right? When we get that experience, that feeling, and we recognize that force, that this infinite energy is what's driving evolution, then it makes perfect sense that we can have a physical world which is always trending towards disorder, right? It's in the manifest world, what is behind the moment, what has already come, what has already been created by source, is going into chaos, is trending into chaos. Why? Because it's falling away from source. Evolution is actually leaning into source. It's actually going the other way, opening up to the source, letting what we don't maybe know, or letting what has not yet happened happen. That takes us the other direction. We are literally going, it's not away from the physical world, but we're not facing the physical world and expecting that to be, we're not expecting order to come from there. We're facing the other way. And this is, I think I'm playing around with this also in terms of, the ego, the human ego, the mind, is always of the past. All the ego can ever see is what has happened. The ego literally cannot see the infinite. It's not, the ego is a pattern of complexes and habits and ingrained behaviors that is the result of everything that's come before. So literally all it knows is what has come before. It is the embodiment of what has come before. When we get out of the ego and we tap into this source state, this open state, this letting energy in state, all of a sudden it becomes possible to evolve. The ego, what has happened before does not determine what has to happen next. Where we were before doesn't have to mean where we're going to go. But it's really kind of this interesting relationship between looking at the world from one direction in which everything is trending towards chaos, and in looking at the world in this other direction in which everything is becoming more structured, more highly structured, more elegant, more beautiful, more graceful, more all-encompassing of the totality of the universe. Now, every step along the way is equally finite, and therefore, in some ways, equally not infinite. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that it's not getting larger, that it's not increasing, that it's not expanding, that it's not becoming greater. So this is just my kind of riffing on the two arrows of time, I guess, and tying it into my experience with meditation, which has been, pretty powerful recently, to just like take these hours and spend the time that way, and kind of start to feel that literally when I'm pouring myself into the future, pouring myself into the moment, the ego and the past don't determine the future anymore. And it's not that I don't have to do a bunch of affirmations or hype myself up to feel that. It's just the natural and inevitable conclusion of facing that direction. Face the other direction, and it's like you're sucking on the exhaust pipe of evolution, and of course everything's going to hell, everything's falling apart, everything's going in the direction of greater entropy, because it is, because that's everything everything manifest is actually going that way. So it's just kind of an interesting, I think what I'm extracting from it as a lesson is, what direction do we want to face? Where are we putting our attention? If we put our attention one direction and let the ego's reality determine what we are and who we are, we're going to get a certain result, and it's going to be based on the past. If we face the other way and can concede our inability to know what is going to happen next, and we can give over to trusting that the energy that we're experiencing is infinite, that there is infinite source, there is infinite abundance, there's truly no limit. There is nothing in the unmanifest. There's no limit on the power of the unmanifest to create something new, to manifest something new. Our world changes. We're going a different direction. We're looking a different direction. We're facing a different direction, and we're going a different direction. So that's my post for the day, folks. I'll leave you with those thoughts. Thank you for letting me wax philosophical. And I love you all for watching. Thanks so much. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.